Welcome, everyone. This is Pineleaf Needles, and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in LOTRO and here at LOTRO Players. And this week we have with us Andang,
Hey everybody.
Terry Adwin,
Hi, hi.
Maven,
Oh, hey, y'all. I
Hey
was muted,
Maven.
sorry.
We found you.
yes, Aerother,
Hello, everybody.
and Carvet.
At your service and your families.
And today we actually have news because Update 18 has reached the beta server.
Yay!
We are now preparing for the Battle of Helm's Deep. I mean, the Lenore Fields.
We are now preparing for
All
battle.
right, we have
Sounds like
gone
we
back
got-
in time. Yeah,
So
for
yes,
the Battle of Pelennor Fields.
Pelennor
yes.
Fields, Pineleaf. There we go. Okay.
But we
And
have
rumor
many
has it that they're
components to this.
appropriately epic.
Yeah. We have a large number of videos that were created for this, including one for the landscape, I believe.
2 for the landscape, Pineleaf.
Yeah.
So yes, there's the first area that you enter into called Tower Druidan, and it is interesting. First of all, I want to start talking about the beacons, which go through this and the other zone. There are 7 beacons that make up this entire region of Far Anorian, and they are essentially like weather tops only in a chain. And so it's like these zones just have continual weather tops, and you just can see between the valleys onto the next beacons off in the distance. And it's unlike anything else in Lotro. It allows you to get to possibly the highest place we've ever been in Lotro, and you get to do it 7 different times across this huge, huge landscape.
So it's like Weathertop forever?
What did I say?
No, I
Weather
said
top
it's like-
forever. Yeah, I see what you're saying. I'm
Okay,
tracking
yeah.
what you're finding.
Okay, just making sure I didn't
Okay,
misspeak.
no, I
Okay.
was just kidding.
But yes, forever and ever and ever, because I'm assuming that when we quest, we're gonna have to go up these beacons a couple times at least. So we
Oh,
we will
let's hope
become.
not.
Let's hope not. Yes, indeed. Um, so anyway, that's the major like standout feature of the entire region as a whole. In this particular subzone, there are the Woses and quarries and various Gondorian settlements and burnt down settlements and just a lot of stuff. What I really like about it is that it feels like a foresty Gondor area, which is something we haven't really had yet. I mean, you could argue in the place right outside of over in Western Gondor, I believe, right outside of the Paths of the Dead. That place is kind of like this, but it's nice to not just have this continuation of endless Gondorian cities that are fairly similar in architecture, and finally be able to have this more rustic setting again. And I thought it was pretty cool. What everyone else think?
I haven't been out on the landscape yet.
Right, I've been mainly doing skirmish tests.
Of course you have, finally.
I just wanted to say, but my mouth's been full. I only went into the Druidan Forest, but I loved it. I think partly what you just said, ending, which is different. After the endless chain of Gondorian architecture and landscape and stuff, and I was also thrilled to just that they put the Woses into the game is just awesome for me. So I'm really looking for. I haven't done any questing there. I mean, I picked up some quests, but I didn't really do anything. And I may not. I don't know. But I'm looking forward to when this thing comes out to doing it in the main game. It'd be cool. But I haven't gone to the other one yet, Far Norium.
The other one is actually the Beacon Hills. They're all part of Far Anorian. And in the Beacon Hills...
Oh, they are? So it's one big area
Right.
called Far Norian and the Beacon Hills?
And
Okay.
Tar Druidan is a lot like basically a bunch of weather tops in Gondor. The Beacon Hills are a bunch of weather tops in Rohan. And so the Beacon Hills actually feels very different from the previous areas we've been to recently, but it has a very, heavy vibe of Rohan, but with these huge, giant towers, beacons that are just standing out in the middle of the zones that
Yeah.
just really stand out more. And these beacons are way higher than the previous beacons, obviously, from previous areas in
All right.
Gondor.
So will the Beacon Hills, would they end within sight of Beacon Watch and Rohan?
Indeed, they do, Pineleaf.
Shut their front door. Really? It's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that would make
And
sense. What Beacon Watch then is basically the end of the chain.
in one of
Yeah.
my videos, I show just how direct this path is. It goes in a almost straight path between Beacon Watch and Minas Tirith, at least, the very outside of the outer wall of the Pelennor Fields. And it's just really amazing to see how direct this route is, particularly considering that before this update, we had no idea exactly where this tied in, and it's like literally right outside the wall. So it's pretty cool that it's just such a direct path to Gondor from Rohan, and vice versa.
So listen, what do you guys think? I'm thinking that the epic story is still not going to get us to the actual battle yet. I'm thinking that the epic is going to put us. We're going to help Theoden get through Druidan. We're gonna, Eowyn's gonna tell us the secret of who she really is. We'll do stuff for her. There'll probably be some stuff with the beacons, but I'm thinking we're not gonna get the actual battle until the next update.
I
would
think
agree.
that we're going to get. I have a feeling that we are going to be getting at least 2 books of the epic storyline in this update.
You
I
think so? Really?
think
I-
I
Oh,
think
okay.
I
That
think
might
you're right,
explain-
Pineleaf.
I would say because of the I saw a screenshot of the where you purchase the new quest pack instant zone thing, and it was saying that the 12-man instance is coming, or the 12-man raid is coming
Right.
in update 18.2. To me, the only thing around that would be worthy of a raid would be the Battle of Pelennor Fields. Like,
No, that will not.
They're
An
not
No.
aspect of it
to
will
raid,
be.
though.
The reason that the
epic
raid
part.
is so late is just because they didn't want to delay the entire update for the raid, I think. I think that the raid
They don't
has...
that battle behind a raid. They're just not going to do it.
Yeah, I think the raid is not connected at all
It's
with...
going to be part of the epic story, and they're not going to lock the epic story to a raid.
hmm
Well, but actually, you guys make a good point in the sense I could get Pineleaf saying that we'll get 2 books because one of the instances actually is helping Aragorn and the Rangers out, and so that's during the battle.
Yeah.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, I
You
don't
know,
know why
so-
they would have released
so-
the instances with this update
Yeah,
if it were not
that's true.
going to go
If
to
if there wasn't going to be some.
Pelennor.
Did they have we talked about this? Did they say they're going to do any more epic battles? Because it sure seems like to me like the Battle of Pelennor Fields is crying for an epic battle.
It seems
Do you know?
that in the quest, in the text for the purchasable region area, which we'll talk more about that later, it does mention that they are battlefield instances.
Oh,
So
okay.
it seems that they've come up with a new terminology for this combination of background epic battle and forefront instance.
Oh, okay. All right.
I
So
like how
that's
they
probably
did
what we'll
that
see.
in
We'll see.
that
We'll
same
just
kind
have
of
to
thing.
hope
It
it's-
reminds me of those kind of like semi-instance zones in the middle of another zone, kind of like they did back on that hill in Isengard era.
Right, yeah.
It kind of reminds me of that terminology. I'm curious to see if that's what they do.
It,
Oh, and-
from what we've seen, it seems that that's basically exactly what they do, only it's to a greater scale. And because they have done these epic battles in the past, it seems that they know how to have this epic stuff scale-wise, but are
Right.
now putting in, really interesting instance dynamics at the forefront.
In the midst of it, yeah.
And so it's like the best of both worlds, where you have this, scale in the distance, but the focus is on the gameplay.
Also, you didn't mention, did you? The second instance involves some parts of it involved mounted combat, which was a new thing
Yes,
for me.
they do. And there are two places. There's a place where you take on what's essentially a bunch of war bands in the middle of the instance. And then there's also a later part where you are basically doing a boss fight that is semi-mounted,
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
which is pretty cool.
Not that the boss is semi-mounted, but it appears, because it glitched out and we didn't get to actually go back and do it, but it looks like when you get the guy down to a certain morale level, he takes off and then he gets on his horse and comes back out again, then you have to fight him down the rest of the way. Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
And before I forget, we are giving a beta spoiler alert. We're not going to spoil any of the story or anything like that, but we are giving a spoiler alert for Landscape, which we should have done at the start. But
Yeah, that's right.
so we started talking about the instances. Is there anything else anyone wants to mention before we move on to one last thing? Or before we move on to a bunch of other things? Okay, there's also in the LOTRO store the Far Anorian Region Pack. This pack is listed as a different from just a normal quest pack, and it includes the quests and the instances all together for what's essentially $20. It's 19.95 turbine points.
Wow.
And what's crazy about this is that there is no quest pack that you can buy, at least currently in the LOTRO store. You can only buy this region pack. They've never titled anything a region pack before. What's really interesting is that if you go to the expansion tab in the LOTRO store, the region pack for this new area is listed there.
Does this mean this is an expansion?
This means that the marketing people at Turbine are apparently considering this to be an expansion, and the instances are, for whatever reason, tied to the purchase of the zone.
But as I said before, there's plenty of precedents to having instances tied to the purchase of a zone.
And Brannick in the chat says, sounds like they don't know what it is. Kind of, it seems like that, honestly.
Well, we'll have to see about that. I have a feeling it's a new category created for very large
Updates.
for very large updates, and that they're not planning to have full-fledged expansions. That they're planning instead these region updates, which include very large areas plus instances plus a large amount of stuff altogether.
But what's
Now,
really
whether or not
weird...
it's worth 20, whether it's not, it's worth 2,000 turbine points, we'll have to see, because I'm sure
Right.
that if it isn't, people will be complaining even faster than they are now.
What's really weird is that there are, according to the text in this, there are 65 plus quests.
65 quests is all it says?
Yes. Which is why I'm so concerned about it being...
okay, that's part
Yeah.
I missed before.
Yes. It's a very big deal, finally.
I was thinking 200 is...
No,
Yeah,
it's
it's
nowhere
65
near
very
the
much.
scale of like Angmar or anything like that, and yet it is going to be the most expensive pack that is in the store as far as if you're wanting just the quests. This is by far the most expensive purchase you're going to make.
65?
So I'm hoping that either they didn't piecemeal it yet and they just put this into the store and they have total plans to put in quest packs and all that other stuff. I'm hoping that that's either the case or that the price is not right. Because if not, we need to make sure to let Turbine know that we don't like what's going on here. We need to make sure to go to the forums, post, and say, change this. We don't want this, or at least respond and say that this wasn't your initial intention, or you had plans already to do something else. Whatever the case is, this is not a good situation, especially for people who just want the quest area. On the video of this already, I've had a ton of people posting about how they're not going to buy this update because they don't want to buy the quest pack and the instances together.
It can't be just 65 of them, because how are you going to get 5 levels with only 65?
Well, it's possible that they could mean longer quests, similar to what happened in Minas Tirith, where there were longer style quests there as well. And also, they might be raising the level cap here and not intending you to get to the level cap until the next update that comes along and has, more areas as well.
What mobs?
Well, there's
What were the
people who
levels
will
of the
do
mobs
it in
you
the
Yeah,
first
people
found?
day.
still would
The
like grind
high
the stones and stuff.
there were a majority of 104s. There were a few 105s, but not very many. So I'm guessing that the next area will be all 105.
Yeah, but that still means that they're expecting you to get 5 levels.
Well, they've done this several times all the way back since Isengard, where you haven't been able to necessarily get the full levels.
Yeah, but charging 2,000, they
Yeah,
need enough
exactly.
quests to get you 5 levels.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. There's also armor changes, which I have not looked into much. Has anyone looked into the new, basically, the tradable essence stuff related to armor?
I haven't really been on beta. They did beta in a really bad weekend for me because it's 100% extra
I
XP
know.
VIP.
The
So I'm a little focused on my actual live
Yeah.
characters at the moment because
And
from
anyway,
what I've
don't you have to
seen,
be 105 to really use this new stuff, or is this at lower levels?
well, I can make a character and get it to 105 in Isengard. That's no problem.
Well, I guess that's not my style, so.
one of the more interesting things that I've seen is actually under that combat and skills section, where they changed a lot of the block, parry, and evade ratings, um, which is
Yeah.
interesting because from what I'm seeing from other people, like they logged on and they had, before their, like as a guardian, their block was at 20%, 25%, and now it's at 13%, but their partial block is at 23, 24%. My thought with that is, well, how is that going to change? Because a lot of guardians skills, like just speaking from a guardian standpoint, a lot of guardian skills rely on block and parry responses. So
yeah,
like that's
Burglar
like
2 for the parry.
say again.
Burglar 2 for the parry.
Yeah, I mean, so that'll be interesting to see how that changes. All the medium armor mitigation that was all wonky is fixed now, which is good for, I think. I mean, it's good for hunters and burglars, but it's an unneeded. It's a buff for wardens and Bjornings. Yay! Mastery, like how it used to be diminishing returns, that's removed now. I saw a picture of a warden with 101,000 physical mastery.
That's ridiculous.
Um, yeah, the a lot of the essences now not only give increased, like if you have a greater essence of physical mastery, it gives physical mastery. The supreme will give like physical mastery and something else, but the greater gives just physical mastery. That's now changed. So in addition to giving physical mastery, it will give something else. All the greater and supreme now do that. So the stats in general are going to be going up a hefty chunk.
Oh, not again.
Again, something else I've seen is like
New
is
essence grind. Yay.
I
That's-
know. It's like, they better make essence for the reclamation scrolls pretty dang cheap.
or not even I don't even think reclamation scrolls, but just getting them. Like it's right now, it's a pain in the butt to get essences, and if you've got a character with 2 roles, like a tank or a healing / DPS thing, you're going to essentially need to get 2 full sets. And I don't know if it's intended, but from what I've seen, the new essences don't go in the old gear, so you'll need to get the gear and jewelry as well.
Oh, jeez.
There was a warden who put something on the forums of, there's with earrings and target set stacking, marked target can proc minus 115% physical mitigation on 5 targets for 60% of a fight.
That's
And I'm like,
crazy.
in the Moors, that's going to be ridiculous. So I think it's gonna, yeah, everyone's gonna roll wardens, but I think PvP is gonna take a big hit again. From at least if things are in the current state, from what I'm seeing on paper. I haven't had a chance to test it or anything like that myself because it's been a crazy week. But yeah, so it's going to be interesting. I think the biggest change is actually the one that folks are talking about, at least, which is the actual stat changes, which are massive.
Yeah, for sure. One thing we should mention, which we kind of took for granted, I think, is that there is going to be a level cap increase with this update. The level
Yes.
cap does go to 105. And I think that that is fantastic. I think it's been, long enough that we've had no level cap. And it would be different if Lotro was built differently, but since Lotro's built the way it's built, I think that we do need level caps fairly often. I don't necessarily think that we need the armor to continue to have to get these new sets of armor and things like that, especially with
Yeah.
the way that essences work now. You should be able to, deconstruct and bring them back
Oh,
and
we need
do
to
things like
imbue
that.
armmer.
We need to imbue armor. That's
We
absolutely
do. We
right,
need
finally.
to imbue armor.
good idea.
I second this notion. Actually, that's a great idea.
A second
Tired
one.
of getting new gear.
I mean, what's crazy is the system just came into place and we're already wanting, imbued armor. So
Yes.
I mean, partially it's just MKJP in the chat said he tested it. His warden was getting 25 to 35,000 DPS.
25 to 30. That means I might be able to get as much as 10,000.
Barnabas said his war leader morale went up a whole 20k, but in all honesty, that's empty morale, which will
Yeah.
disappear fast in 1 second, apparently, with warden. So I think it's going to be a little bit nuts, especially because the right now the two of the classes that people complain about the most are Bjornings, obviously, and wardens in the Moors, and guardians as well. Actually, a lot of classes, but the mitigation buff is going to be like not so much the mitigation buff, but the fact that they have to put less points into mitigation so they can put those into other things like physical mastery or more morale. We already have minstrels running around with 50,000 morale in the Moors, 60,000 morale, some folks. So it's going to be more than that now. It's going to be a
Yeah.
little crazy.
I want to, be very clear on something. I don't endorse, changing the PvE for PvP
Mm-hmm.
ever, but all the classes are overpowered for PvE stuff.
Yeah.
When you consider like the people who really go for it and try to, get the best stuff, like this warden apparently can get, just ridiculous stats. And they've kind of counteracted that a little bit in some of the more recent areas where they have made the difficulty be harder by stunning players and things like that.
Which Pineleaf loves.
Yeah, but
My
it
internet
is
hiccuped. What did I miss?
Stunning.
stunning.
In
Yeah,
the
I-
instances?
Stunning.
I
We're
kind of
talking
agree
about
with
balance
Barnabas.
right now, so
Like the idea of capping stats is not a bad idea.
yeah, I mean, I think that there is a place for capping stats. I think that, players should be able to freely do what they want to do,
Mhm.
but at some point it becomes too much to where, like, if you get too much, I don't think the game's even fun for them to play at that point.
Yeah.
And so I think that they need to reassess the balance of all the Freepside classes and, really look in to see how to make, bring some classes up and take others down, because I think that it's kind of ridiculous how things are right now. There's a huge disparity between certain classes.
Yeah. And I mean, I like, again in the chat, MKJP, it just didn't seem like, yes, a level cap is good, and I agree with you on that. I think the armor increase and the essence increase was unnecessary. And I mean, there's a lot. I know a lot of people, myself included, that don't have the heart to grind another 50 essences for one character.
Yeah.
It's just like,
I didn't even grind for one essence.
Well, and I mean, I used to be, a rating player and used to grind for the best
Yeah.
gear and do all that stuff. Eventually, after a couple of years of it, you just get tired and don't want to ever do it again.
yeah.
And so, it would be great if you could imbue essences and do things like that, or at least just not increase the cap. That would be great. It's not like we need these better stats, really.
Right. Especially considering a level cap increase, which naturally raises some stats.
Right. So, hopefully they can fix that. There were also some PvP graphical changes, if you want to call them that. People were hoping for a lot more, I think, on trying to fix the lag in the Moors than just a button that decreases your own graphics
Well,
for you.
what else can they do?
Well, I think people were hoping by them saying that they would be able to like dedicate more resources from the servers or something to be able to
Well,
allow
a
there to be
lot
better
of it, I
performance
have a
there.
feeling, is not the server power as much as the
Yeah, a lot of it is.
bottleneck
Well,
in
I mean,
the
obviously, some
internet.
of it is, but a lot of it is not because
Right.
there's a lot of times when other people will see lag because they've got different graphic settings than me, who's on very low. And when everybody's freezing and you're all on very low, then obviously there's something else going
Exactly.
on. But if you're on very low and somebody else is on higher graphics and everybody around you is freezing and you're still running around going la la la, well, in my case, it's usually my internet has frozen and my character's running, but actually not really.
Well, there
Which
is that.
But it
leads.
is nice to have the ability to, have a setting that turns down your graphics for you when you enter
yeah, it is.
PvP.
It's like I don't think it's necessarily PvP changes as it is like a nice little quality of life thing, so you
Yeah.
don't have to go and do it yourself every
Now,
time.
I have a question. Is it possible to turn this switch on when you're in a when you're in a PvE zone?
I don't believe so. I mean,
The
you
reason
can
why
turn
I
it on
ask that
then,
is it would
but
be lovely for weather stock.
yes, you can turn it on, but it won't do anything.
Oh,
As far as I know, I have not yet
yeah,
messed around with this, but based on all the description and things I've read from other people, that's what it sounds
yeah.
like.
Right. Because it'd be lovely if that thing could operate in weather stock when everybody needs to turn down their graphic settings.
Indeed. Maybe they'll make Weatherstock be,
A PvP
Weathertop be
zone.
a
That
PvP
would
zone
really be
just for
bad.
that day.
You know how many people would be trying to sneak wargs and stuff there? I mean,
They
there's no
wouldn't
way
listen
you
to
would
your music.
last. No, what you do is you pop out as a warg, everyone like lightning bolts you, and then everyone crashes. It'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone would just love the thousands of hours that they put into organizing it, just tarnished away. That'd be great.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
I think we need to now go to the most important change of the entire update.
For Terry.
Yes.
Yes,
For Terry.
that would be the new dyes that are coming in that are awesome.
Oh, I thought it was that burglars got to have bows.
I think that's silly.
Burglars
Why
with
is
bows
that
is
silly?
kinda- I love that they're getting a range skill. I love that they're finally giving burglars something at range. I was actually really hoping for more of a throwing dagger kind of thing. But it doesn't make any more sense for the bears to have bows either, so I'm kind of eh. I'm just glad that they're showing some attention to burglars finally, because
Yeah,
burglars need no love. They've got
mean-
no love for such a long time, so I'm glad they're throwing us some kind of bone. But
my
no.
question with the whole burglars and bows thing, besides the fact that they really only did it because bears got bows and burglars were like, what about us?
Well, yeah, that was my
th-
thing. There was no reason to give the stupid overpowered furballs bows. They were overpowered enough. They didn't need bows on top of it.
Well, a bow doesn't do anything except pull things. And as a burglar, you sneak up behind things and stab them in the calf.
Yeah, but having to track stuff down to sneak up on it is really annoying
Oh,
when you're just trying to deed.
yes.
So,
Anyway, I'm a mischief burglar, and a bow is very handy, I think, for a mischief burglar.
Right, and I don't get why people think that it's not appropriate for the class because they are a stealth class, and bows are heavy in history of being related to stealthy type people.
Yeah.
And so I
Ninjas,
don't.
assassins and stuff.
Yeah, burglars with short bows was a staple part of D&D from the beginning.
yeah, I actually sort of want a crossbow for my burg.
And so I don't know why they
I
didn't
don't know
launch
if
with a
I
bow
don't-
and
I
arrow,
actually
to be
don't know if we're
honest.
gonna get- I actually don't know if we're gonna get crossbows. I think it's just bobos. Like the
Some
bears
people
can't
think
do
the burglar bow is Bobo.
Yeah, I mean,
bows.
I think like with from not so much Dungeons and Dragon lore, but Lord of the Rings lore. I mean, to say the burglar class in the Lord of the Rings had bows, but like the burglar class in Lord of the Rings is based off of like
Bilbo
Bilbo.
Baggins.
yeah,
Was
and
it? Yeah.
I mean, stooping and throwing a rock, yeah.
Yeah. Stooping and throwing a rock is actually more Bilbo's style. He could throw anything.
I feel
and
like
hit
I
it.
Yeah,
feel
they
like that
really
would
need to
fit
give
more.
that Hobbit stoop for a stone thing to burglars too, and then Hobbit burgs could have 2 stones.
That like to me that makes more
Like
sense.
Hobbit minis get 2 flops because you have the
I-
mini flop and you have the Hobbit flop.
All of
Hobbit
the
burgs
rocks.
could get 2 stones, but then regular burgs could have like a stone.
If you're a Hobbitburg, but if you're Manberg, then it does, bows make perfect sense.
See, the thing to me is like to keep it fitting with the class as well as the race. I mean, it would have made more sense. Like the point of a bow skill isn't because, I mean, in all honesty, it seems like the point of a bow skill, as opposed to stoop and throw a rock and adding that to a man burglar class, is so that you can have cosmetic bows on your burglar.
Yeah,
Oh, well.
I mean, just the silence agree. Like,
No.
just
As
that
a
seems like it's
The
the honest thing.
silence doesn't agree. That's
Yeah,
just the
actually, what
thing.
I found rather funny with the whole thing with the burglars and the bows is in my Bingo Boffin series, I was originally running that on a burglar, but I was starting to get to a level where the burglar was getting frustrating, and I say, "How am I going to get all these levels?" Same thing that Ending's been complaining about, and I just give on and decided to write it into the story that when they were visiting the elves in Eregion, that they taught her how to fire a bow, and suddenly I started using a hunter. But that sounds sort of funny now, right after this, that they're giving burglars bows finally.
that is kind
So,
of hilarious.
if you don't like the changes of burglars getting bows, blame it on Pineleaf.
Or, don't use one because
Or
my
don't use
Bjorny
one.
doesn't have a bow.
Yeah.
She doesn't
I
have
just
one equipped.
I would like
I
to
just
point
think it
out
was
that
like a comparatively
even
silly change.
yeah, it is. I would like to point out that even Pineleaf is having trouble leveling with the amount of levels for Bingo Boffin. And if Pineleaf's having trouble, the person who levels obnoxious amounts of characters.
Hey, I've got 3 characters who are doing Bingo Boffin at level, so I have to do 3x.
See, that's why you're having trouble.
Yes.
Yeah.
But see, for Pineleaf, that's still like he will still get it done faster than a normal person does one character leveling because Pineleaf is just crazy as far as how much he plays Lotro. So
I actually want to point out that the ranged weapon that I would love to equip cosmetically is the instrument on the minstrel. I would love
yeah,
for my Hobbit mini to be able to wear her lute on her back. I'm just saying
absolutely.
That would be cool.
that would be awesome. And my burglar would do the same thing because that's usually what I do in my burglar's range slot is I carry a lute around. Also, they fixed Eladan's hair color in that instant. Repeatedly. They finally fixed it. You guys have no idea how excited I was when I read that in the patch notes. I was like, they're fixing it!
I really wish that you were recording when you were reading patch notes, just for that reason alone.
Ah, well. Anyway, now about the new dies.
And the new dies. The new dies are going to be awesome. Couple of previews out there. You can see all of the different die colors that somebody did a video. Somebody else posted on the forum one of the elven dresses that dies really well in all of the different new colors. Yes, Lily Kate, new dies. A lot of pastels. Shire Plum is my new favorite color. Must have for the wardrobe.
So, as a whole, this update actually seems pretty big.
Oh,
There's a lot of changes. There's, new
Yeah.
progression, and there's,
massive.
within armor and level cap, there's instances. There's the new areas. There's probably a lot of epic story, even though that's hopefully still going to be free. So there's, a lot of stuff in this update, and I think part of the reason that is that is happening is because it has been by the time this releases, it will for sure have been 6 months since the last major update, which is one of the longest periods that we've had since the transition to free to play without an update.
That being said, I think in terms of how it's going to impact the game, especially that combat and skills bit, it seems to me that it's going to be not on a Helm's Deep level impacting the game, but like it's going to be pretty hefty in terms of how the game feels and how it's played at Cap.
I don't think it's anywhere near the Helm's Deep, but it is a significant
no.
change.
It's pretty hefty changes though, I think.
Yeah.
Also, random thing that I like a lot. In the instance finder, there's like a featured instance there. Just like, here's what we think you might enjoy.
Yes.
Like,
Well, it's
click.
kind of like the free sample that we get every week, except for it's for trying out instances, and you get an extra, you get extra rewards, and you also get an extra experience bonus for doing the featured instance.
So like when you're with a group of friends, you're like, what do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do? What do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do? Featured instance.
Now,
I don't know. This
that
week's
does
featured
only
instances. Ick.
now the featured instance does only work once per day, we should
Correct.
say, so you can't just repeatedly do it. And it also changes once a week. So once a week you can go in and do, the instance every day, or you can, just go in once a week and do the featured instance
That might be
and
fun
experience new
if it
content.
changed every day.
I think once a week is often enough.
I mean, is there any bonus to doing the featured instance on a particular day? Or is it just the idea that, oh, look, this is what we're featuring?
Yeah, I
Well,
think
if you
the
do
reason
the
why
featured
it's
instance, you get the bonus rewards and bonus XP.
Hmm.
yeah. I think the reason why they decided weekly is changes because there are a lot of groups that meet weekly.
Yeah, that's true.
True.
Who would do that? Who would make a weekly instance group? I have no idea.
Not
I
if
don't know. I've heard there are one or two people who do
Well,
that.
Yeah.
the thing about if it changed weekly, like or excuse me, changed daily, there are people that play together every day.
Yeah.
Crazy people.
Yeah, but
But and the thing is, your experience would still be the same.
Well,
If you
and
log in every week, you'd get a different instance. It
right,
would be the same
I think there's
experience.
also, if they had it at random, maybe that would be okay. But there
Yeah.
is, in theory, an employee that has to set that every week,
True.
set the featured instance.
Yeah.
So that is employee time. So I think once a week is plenty for that, I think.
In the meantime, it's a cool idea that I really like.
By the way,
Hmm.
oh, I need to back up to the dies. One thing we did not say. No. I just want because Lily Kate got excited, and I think other people got excited. They're not all going to be released at once. Apparently, I think there's like 4 per festival, so they're available. If I'm reading it right, they're available at festival time, and there's only 4 at each festival that you can get. So it's not like you can suddenly go to Lalia's and pick up all 16 dies.
It also
wanted to say.
seems like they're going to be gated, some with Mythal coins and some with festival tokens. So
Yeah.
some are going to
Right,
be pay to
right.
get, and others are going to
And
be
you can
Yeah.
only
free.
buy one at a time. You can't get like a
well,
batch of
it's
5.
sort of they're alternating it by years on which ones are available, which ones are mithril coins.
Oh, okay.
So one
Well,
year
it'll
there'll
take
be
us a
one
while
set,
to get them
set
all.
the other 2 will be.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. I just wanted to say that because if I had heard us say new dies, I'd be like, oh great, all these new dies, and then go away. Where'd the dies go?
But actually, while you're mentioning festival tokens, one of the other things that they're going to be doing is you can now barter festival tokens of one kind for festival tokens of another kind. So if you have tokens left over from the previous festival, you can go ahead and trade them in for whatever festival happens to be running. They're
That'd
going
be
to
Which is
have
nice.
awesome.
a new barter guy.
Yeah,
That's
that would be
awesome.
really
It's
cool to
great.
be able to change. You
It's
can
great.
grind ale. You can do ale in
Ale-
league and ale associations till you're
Yeah.
blue in the face and completely wasted. You know, every time, and then just carry your token cash along.
At that point,
Oh,
why
it's a
would
new
you not just
festival. Let's go get some tokens. Woohoo!
at that point, why wouldn't you just have one currency for all of the festivals?
They keep saying they're going to do that, and every time they keep saying they're going to do that, they don't do it.
Yeah.
Because
Then
that's how
somehow
I ended up with a bunch of
suddenly
Desert Prince on Laurelin is because old festival tokens at one point got converted to mithril coins because they were going to have single currency for every festival, and it didn't happen.
What you do is you just have this coming festival. The new festival token name is Festival Token, and you can change your old tokens into Festival tokens.
And they
And
actually
then
do have a one called Festival Token, but
yeah,
it's
Yeah,
for a
that's
specific
Jewel
festival.
Festival. Jewel
just name them
Festival is
all Festival Tokens.
And what's crazy is that they've been trying to consolidate this since like the creation of these festivals, and they keep making it more complicated and then like streamlining it more complicated and streamlining it, kind of like all their other systems. So, Lillicate in the chat does say, when is the proposed date for this update? Well, typically there are basically about a month after the beta goes up. The release date is typically around there, a month to 6 weeks. And so that would put it right before the anniversary festival, which would mean they'd be able to have an update and put in the anniversary festival with that as well. So that's my guess, is that it'll be sometime right before the anniversary festival.
But we don't actually know yet.
but we don't
Stay
actually know
tuned.
yet.
But I will say that that is a reasonable assumption that they are going to try to do that at the very
Exactly.
least. That is their
It might
target.
not happen.
Yeah, it might not happen, but I am pretty sure that is their target. All right, then is everybody finished with that and we can go on?
Yeah, I'd
Mm-hmm.
just like to say that the update looks great. It's nice to have something that's different from the rest of Gondor.
Very well. Then let's head into store sales. And what is on sale this week?
Our free sample this week, March 18th through the 24th, Universal Solvent. Use coupon code that you can find in the show notes. Also, we actually have a decent sale. 20%
Ooh.
off expansions and expansion quests, skirmishes and instances, enhanced XP supply, token of the Hornburg, and mark acquisition boosts. And double bonus points through March 28th.
All right. Then let's head into the site news and we'll begin with the community. Oh, you mean you want to know
Who's
who the
that?
sponsor is for this
There's a
week?
sponsor, yes.
Ooh, well, LOTRO Players News is brought to us this week by a new landmark.
Artisans and culture lovers of Eriador, take heed. There is a new gallery on the scene. Settled amongst the sweeping vistas of the misty mountains, nestled against a rocky crag, is the latest addition to high society art. Despite the bad reputation of its owners, the Goblin Town Museum of Art is now open. Catering to those with the most exquisite tastes in Art Nouveau, abstract, and primitive styles, the Goblin Town Museum of Art has art for all patrons. Now featuring works by noted goblin painter Slash, with his renderings of events of historical significance, including the Moaning Golem. Come see the stained glass, goblin architecture, vintage craftsmanship, and more at the Goblin Town Museum of Art. There you go.
That's great.
It was really
Yes.
hard streaming through that.
Let's head into our community events for March 18th through 24th, and I presume one of them is the opening of the Goblin Town Gallery of Art.
What? I tried to get into Slash's art, but it was just, too disjointed for me.
But it looks like there's also was a Bulwer Took Day pub crawl.
Yeah, that was today.
Well,
Tomorrow, isn't it?
yeah, March
It's tomorrow.
20th. That is
That's right.
tomorrow. Then.
Yeah, it's tomorrow. It's tomorrow during a time that I can't be there.
Well,
I mentioned that last week. I wouldn't be able to make it. Day on the Greenfields is actually Days on the Greenfields, and it started Friday and runs through the weekend.
Yeah, in fact, I'm performing right at the same time that the pub crawl starts. It looks like.
Yeah, they were streaming it on Twitch. I was watching it earlier.
Yeah, Barafunda had it up on Twitch. So if you can't make it, you can watch it on Barafunda.
Very well. Anyone else have anything that they particularly thought was interesting? Looks like
Not this week, but in a couple weeks, there is the Haunting of the Bridge Inn over on Laurelin, which looks like it's going to be really cool. Yeah, it's Sunday, April 3rd.
And also on Wednesday, March 23rd, there is Dwarves Night Out on the Laurelin server at 4 p.m. And it's located in Thorin's Hall. And basically, they are just going to get together and share songs, tales, and just have a good time with ale, of course.
I will say at the Carve household, every night is Dwarves Night Out.
And let's head into the status of the LOTRO 1-year VIP code giveaway.
Status, finally. This is a new one.
Ooh, a new one!
Yeah, there's an additional one. Which, by the way, if you're interested in the status of the giveaway, pretty sure that there's going to be a new winner chosen. I've not heard back from the previous winner, so there will be somebody else that will be getting an email for that. And in a week's time, there will be a winner from the giveaway that I am doing on my YouTube channel for a 1-year VIP code. And so there will be, in the next week or two, a lot of winners, hopefully, that will be getting their VIP codes. So
You
very
maybe
exciting.
could have maybe could have made it a little bit more clear in the article that they're supposed to comment on the actual video and not that article.
Yeah, I tried to make it as clear as possible. If you are listening to this and you left a comment on the LOTRO Players article, be sure that you leave a comment for this giveaway, my channel giveaway, on my website where the link takes you in this article. Very important, otherwise you will not be entered in to win.
Very well. Then let's go into our weekly poll, and the question this week is, what race do you play the most?
Yes, finally, if this was submitted to us by Barnabas, so big thanks to him for doing that.
Yeah.
And the top answer with 37%, 102 votes, was Elf.
What?
Yeah, I am very disappointed in 37% of the people who go to the LOTRO.
I don't even know that many
Super
elves.
disappointed.
I play
Super
man.
disappointed.
Well,
Ooh.
speaking of
Why?
man,
Why
that is
creepy.
the...
An elf. Elves are
No,
icky. And they're
Becca's
stuck
very
up.
aware that I play a man. Remember?
Yes, yes.
I
Okay,
am
good.
a man.
Out of context. On the...
By the way, plug Tales of the Free Folk tonight, yo.
Yeah, it's going to be super awesome.
See how I did that?
The next option with 30%, 84 votes, was man, the Earthert class
Yeah.
race. With 16%, 45 votes, Hobbit.
Can we just take a moment to relish the fact that there's an Aerithert race?
The race of Earthert.
Okay, moment's over. We can move on.
Then with 13%, 35 votes, was the Carvet race Dwarves.
Barokazad.
And with 3%, 7 votes, if you're Pine Leaf, this is the one that you're not good at, the Bjorning. And
Hey.
Lies.
What do you mean?
Lies.
Why am I'm not any worse with the Bjorning than with the other races.
I'm just giving you a hard time, Pine Leaf. Next up with 1%, since I did include all of the PvP races on here, with 1%, 4 votes were the Wargs, and with 0%, 1 vote Uruk, 0%, 1 vote Other, and then both getting no votes were Orcs and Spiders.
I just wanted to also note, like, if you look at the poll, like the little bars along the side, like, what's funny about those? The Uruk and Other are 0%, and it's like this itty bitty tiny bar, and Orc and Spider 0 votes, and the bar's bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, sure.
I didn't
was
design
all.
the plugin.
But now we know that it does that.
Yep.
Yay! Also, I love the 4 people that picked Warg.
All of them were Aerothert's different computer accounts, but great job, everybody.
I do
This
love
was
myself.
kind of a tough one because, you know, which race I play the most depends on which character I'm currently in love with at the time.
Right, yeah.
So it's like, oh, I'm really excited about this Hobbit minstrel, so I'm playing a Hobbit right now. Or I've been really excited about this human lore master, so I'm playing a human right now. I couldn't think back of whichever like race that I play the most currently or for all time.
Yeah, there were a lot of people who qualified it by saying that currently this is what I'm playing the most and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So, yeah, you're not in the minority there.
See,
Right.
I tend to primarily play race of man characters whenever possible.
And I do the same.
Right. So therefore, yeah, I chose Hobbit because, well, you know, Pine Leaf.
Finally, yeah.
Then let's head into LOTRO Academy, episode 140, Minds of Moria Review, Part 4, where we get to the end of the Minds of Moria and into Lothlorien.
And then we go back into Moria.
Oh.
So, you've had more episodes reviewing the Mines of Moria than you did legendary items. But isn't it interesting that both the Mines of Moria review and LIs are both related to the Mines of Moria expansion? Takes a lot to talk about Moria.
Yeah.
Moria is a complicated place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there's one more
Very
episode
involved.
coming out this week.
Yep. And we also have LOTRO video highlights. The Legend of townfolk?
Yes,
Townsfolk.
Pineleaf, the
Yay.
dwarf townsfolk is the most legendary fisherman in all of Middle Earth.
This is
What?
because Andang forgot what video series he's in, because it should have been Middle Earth highlights instead of LOTRO video
Nonsense.
highlights.
LOTRO video highlights can come back when people submit videos, and Aerithert
Oh, I
did that.
submitted this one.
And so thanks, Aerithert, for doing that. This is so awesome. It's such an awesome video. So you can also submit by
basically
sending
adorable.
to contact@lotraplayers.com any videos that you find that are LOTRO related that you think would be good to feature.
All right. So, yes, the undead. The undead video series.
Yeah.
So then let's head into Small Lotro Adventures episode of 44, where we are back with a bingo and going into the easterning zones with the Roundlands.
I like the title for this because it makes me think, are you going to Rohirrim Fair? Makes me laugh.
Now, see, I was thinking the Game of Thrones aspect with the bear and the maiden fair.
Lizzie Kate and little one too.
Right. I think it's time for us to go into the family line, part 84, The Wall of Darkness.
I couldn't read it. It was too dark.
Yeah, that's the problem.
I'm sure it's amazing. I am so far behind on Tim's work. I feel kind of guilty, but at the same time, it's like, oh, there's so much good stuff there. It's just you must have to kind of like just curl up with an iPad or a phone or something and just read for a while, and a while, and a while more.
In a while.
I'm
In a while.
holding out
Or
for
you could
the
go like old fashioned and you print them all out, and then you
I'm holding out for
take
the
the computer
compiled
paper
PDF.
and you like
And then you like
crumple
put
it up,
them, yeah.
and then you get it all wet, and then you like uncrumple it and you let it dry, so it's like old fashioned and like parchmenty looking, and then you paint it with like apple juice or something so it
Shellacking.
gets that good color, and then you can like sit there with your loose leaf old scroll looking at paper and read it that way. It's probably way
Alright.
more satisfying.
Into a scroll or into a codex, which would be better?
Yeah,
Man, I was
if
thinking
you- if you're
3-week
willing
binder, but
to-
you know, I guess that's old school.
If you're willing to use
Oh,
lore
Pine
breaking
Leaf, now you're just
Scotch
showing
tape,
off.
if you want to use lore breaking Scotch tape, you can do a scroll. Maybe the Rohan have tape. I don't know.
I think that I think book form would be appropriate for Lotro, though. I mean, for the Lord of the Rings, because
Sure.
it sounds something consistent with how Bilbo did things.
Yeah, they did books.
Yes. So let's head into A Critter's Journey, number 15, of Trash and Snakes.
It was awesome. That's all I can say without giving any spoilers, but it's awesome.
All right. That's our review of it for this week.
I can't. Well, I can't say. I can't say anymore that I don't know what Squirrel is on, because Squirrel has already confirmed that they're on cashew nuts.
Yes, yeah. True. And yep, that's what makes them nuts than the cashews, I guess. And that's it for our site news for this week. So therefore, let us head into our week in Lotro and ending. I think it's redundant to ask you what you were up to.
It is, but I spent so much time this week doing Update 18 preview videos. And so yeah, that's what I did.
Yeah, I think that's what it goes into there.
Yeah. I'm gonna go on to Maven now. Maven, what'd you do this week?
Well, my big highlight was meeting Hanbury Han in the Druidan Forest. That was just awesome. I'm really looking forward to checking that whole area out.
And for those
I
who
only get
don't
to see-
know, Gunbury Gon is one of the characters from the books that was a fun little side character that has a pretty important role but wasn't touched by the movies.
What?
Yeah, so guess what? Read the books if you want to know who the guy is.
Mhm.
Yeah, so it's going to be really interesting, I think. But anyway, so that was my week, and I don't know who's next because for some reason I don't. Oh, no, there it
Oh,
is.
it
Never
is
mind. Wait,
Carvette.
got it.
It's
Corvette.
me! I was
Oh,
just trying to take a leisurely stroll through the woods on my low-level lore master, young fella fresh out of the mountains, repeatedly stalked by Baruch, the vicious warg of the Checkwood, until finally I had enough. I'm coming around a corner, and there's not one Baruch, but two! And I'm like, what the heck? This elite warg is on me. So I ran away for my life, but then eventually I was like, enough is enough. Me and you, Bully, we're going to have it out. And I soloed him at level 13, and I kicked his bum. So
Only
yeah,
one of them, though?
just the one. The other one I ran away from, because I was
Oh.
like, are you kidding me? There were two of them. I like came around a corner, and like he jumped out of a bush, and he was there. And then I was like aggro, and I'm like, run away!
Yeah, you know, if you don't drink as much, then you only see one carve.
No. There were two of them. Although that might have been at like
I just want to
4 in
point
the
out
morning.
you should solo it if you were on a lore master because you had a pet.
Okay, well, I used 3 bears technically. Because I kept singing the bear on him, and when the bear would die, I would mez him and then summon another bear. So there was a whole fellowship of us that kicked his butt. But still,
Oh, well.
if you want to get all technical, geez, Terry Adwin, what'd you do that was so awesome this week, huh?
Well, I ran for the first time with the Tuesday group, and Sarissa got punted off the side of the tower when we ran it and died. So, yeah, because apparently some of those bosses have some really nasty knockback, and I basically got punted up the tower and over the wall and died.
Oh, too bad the instance of the week is only active in Bulwer. It's
I
a
know,
perfect
right?
instance.
Mm-hmm.
And this was days before Bull had even gone live, but it's
Yeah.
it's interesting because I complained that the elves don't have handrails in like Lothlorien and stuff like that, and this was actually an instance where they had high walls. I just got punted up and bounced off a tower and knocked over the side. But then I came back later and I ended up being last burglar standing with about 20 morale until I ran into the bear who healed me on as I was running back to the group because everybody had died and retreated. And so I had like 6 mobs chasing me, and I'd already used up my hips, and I had nothing, and I just ran flat out. I had 20 morale, and I was sure I was a goner, and I ran past Flosen's Bjorning, who healed me, so I didn't die. And then everybody else basically just mobbed the guys. It was awesome.
But you know, Terry, they don't have handrails in Lothlorien because they built it, you know, way, way before those codes were in place. If they ever remodel, it's going to be really expensive because they're going to have to put in handrails everywhere, handicap
That's true.
ramps up to, you know, they can't use
Oh, they
these
got
ropes
plenty of
anymore.
ramps.
Yeah, they do have plenty of ramps, but they've got all those ladders and stuff too. But anyway, Pine Leaf, what were you up to this week?
Well, this week, during the Mythgard meeting where I lead them in through a skirmish, we were
Ugh.
doing rescue at Nur's Gashu,
Ugh.
where I
Ugh.
demonstrated why Golidir doesn't deserve to be rescued.
Ugh.
Because you could hear Maven with the sound she's making, who's
Yes,
remembering
it's
this
awful.
particular ordeal. Where whatever you do, if you're running this in a 6-player group, if you're not a well-oiled group that's very experienced working together, your chances of being able to keep Golidir alive are rather slim.
Like nil.
Yeah. Now, of course, if you are a group that works well together, that has played much together, yeah, then it's doable. Now, I think my small fellowship group, I think we have about well, at tier 3, I think we tend to have pretty poor record. We might have only gotten successfully through it once, but I think we're a little bit more successful. I think we have done it at tier 1 a couple of times or so. But in 6, I don't think I've ever successfully completed that skirmish. So I think I've only tried it 2 or 3 times.
Yeah,
Because
I've been through it. I've been through it my solo, and then I've been through it. I think I went through with Pepper and Awesome, Terry and another guy that
Yeah.
we play with. I think we did a three there, and it wasn't so bad. But the 6-man version,
Oh
oh
yeah.
my goodness!
When you go to 6, it
Oh,
now if you have a good burglar with a butter knife, they might be able to get Goladier so that he could quickly get into the thing, go into the fellowship maneuver quickly, get everything on, minimum damage to it, and hope that Goladier doesn't stand in the fire. Then
yeah.
everything
The
might
thing
go
is, you can't
fine.
heal him. I've been in some
Yeah,
instances where you
you
can
can't.
heal the NPC.
Yeah,
You
you
can't heal him.
cannot heal him either.
Yeah,
Ugh.
well,
Yeah,
you know, he's got that whole depressed thing going on, so.
Yeah,
yes, he is
he's a
depressed. Getting his
he's a
morale
grumpy
up.
puss.
He's not going to get his morale up until that thing is until that Rogmul is dead. So therefore, yes. And I came to the conclusion, yeah, Gulliver is not worth rescuing.
Yeah, I agree with you. Put him right in there with Sarah O'Cart as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
At
So
least
let's
after
go in,
Wow.
last Tuesday.
right. Let's go into news beyond Lotro, where we had episode 3 of Ren, the girl with the mark, and I even managed to catch up and get up to episode 3 this week. So yay, I'm up to date.
Awesome,
Which
finally.
was also really awesome, but cliffhanger.
Yeah, no
Well, what do
kidding.
you expect? Of course, cliffhanger. That's their style with this. It looks
But
like.
really bad cliffhanger. It's like, but
Really good cliffhanger, but yes,
well,
really a very annoying part to break because it's so good.
well,
So,
Yeah.
I always forget that the episode's out too until I'm getting around to doing show notes, and it's like, oh hey, this came out on Monday. The next episode's gonna
Tuesday.
be out on Monday. Is it
Yep,
Tuesday?
they're on Tuesdays. And this one actually came out really late on Tuesday. They were a bit late on getting it out.
Yeah, well, I
Yeah.
watch it when I put the articles in for show notes. So I could actually probably watch it when it comes out, but it's just easier for me to wait and
Yep.
do it on Saturday.
But yeah, Pineleaf, what do you think of the entire series and this episode in particular?
It's well, right now I'm still wondering. Okay, what exactly does the mark do?
Well, I think that that's intentional. We still don't
Yeah, I
know.
have a feeling. Yes, that is, and in fact, I suspect that we have this. I'm almost thinking that we have a society here that assumes that the mark is a thing of evil or something like that. Either it's because the society has been lied to by someone in power who
It
doesn't want
seems like
people to
they've
know the
been lied
truth,
to, yeah.
or the other possibility is people assume it is because it's different. Either one of them could be the case.
Or it could have a twist and it really is evil.
Yes, that is, of course, a third possibility. It could really be evil.
But we don't know, and let's not give too many spoilers because we want people to watch it.
Well, okay, I
Indeed.
guess you got a
If
point
if
there.
you're not watching Ren, the girl with the mark, you really should be watching Ren, the girl with the mark because it's
Definitely.
really awesome.
And it seems like that the reason that we don't know a lot of things is because the story is told from Ren's point of view, and the audience isn't really given that much more information than Ren is, and so it kind of follows her story, which I think is a really cool way to be telling the story, where the audience is kind of, kept at bay as far as knowledge goes, and only given the knowledge of the main character, pretty much.
Yeah.
You've got a point there. All right, so let's then go into Tolkien's Middle Earth, who is coming to Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. And this is actually a crossover that's also being posted on DDO News because, well, that's
It's
another place where you have some interesting, right?
right.
D&D.
What I found that was very interesting is that this is a standalone that is being made in addition to Cubicle 7's other series, and so it's actually an additional D&D version of the One Ring role-playing game that is completely standalone and separate, which is interesting. I'm surprised that the market's big enough for them to have two of these series going at the same time, essentially.
Well, well, let's face it, you do have some people who really want to play the D&D
Oh yeah.
rules or something like that and would prefer to play that rather than a specialized set of rules.
But still, according to things I've read, it's going to have standalone stories and things like that. So it's actually going to be a separate thing.
Hmm. We'll see how well that works out.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
And therefore, we currently have 26 supporters on Patreon. And if you would like to join this illustrious raid of players and help support LOTRO players, simply go to the donations page where we can support the Players Alliance and Patreon. There you'll find rewards, including a mention on the podcast of your choice, or even be a guest for an episode of LOTRO Players News. And how far are we from the next LOTRO goal?
From the next Lotro goal, Pineleaf, making it tough. I honestly don't know.
Ooh.
Yeah, because Patreon changed how they show goals now, so I'd have to go and do this
Again?
whole thing. No, just how they show them. It's not, they didn't change how they calculate them. It's just how they show them. But yeah, they're actually, this was actually a good improvement because now it has a progress bar to how far you are from the next goal, so it's actually pretty cool. But anyway, we're probably a ways away, but we are close to a $100 Steam card giveaway on XP Quest. And the reason that applies to Lotro is because guess what? You can spend Steam card wallet points, actual cash from there, on Lotro by going through the Steam store. So you can actually buy Turbine points if you have the Steam client of Lotro. So you could use this $100 Steam card for Lotro stuff as well.
Or expansions,
Or
other
expansions,
DLC
or
content,
yeah,
other
all
games,
sorts of
or
stuff.
fancy pirate hats, or whatever.
Did you say
You can
party
eat.
hats?
Said fancy
He said
pirate hats.
Oh,
fancy
okay.
pirate hat.
Arr, it's a great deal, matey.
Indeed.
You can email us at podcast@lotroplayers.com. You could also follow us at Twitter, the Players Alliance at Players Ally, Lotro Players at Lotro Players, Andang at PVMP_Andang, Arathert at Arathert, Carvet at Carvet LP, Maven at Tolkien Maven, Pineleaf at Pineleaf Needles, and Terry Adwin at Terry Adwin. The Players Alliance has 5 live shows. Every Monday at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have DDO Players News. Every other Thursday at 9 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have XP Quest. On the final Friday of each month, we have at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have Lotro Academy After School. On Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have Lotro Players News. And every other Saturday after Lotro Players News, we have Tales of the Free Folk. You can join us for our live shows at lotroplayers.com/live. And thank you everyone for listening. This is Pineleaf Needles reminding you to skirmish responsibly.